This is a message to specifically men out there. This video is not for women, it's directed at men specifically. I'm in a medical situation, so it affects my memory and other things, and so apologies for that. But I'm trying to communicate something which I think is vitally important for men to keep in mind. And my situation is unclear to me. But what I do know, I think, is that I am now divorced, and there are consequences to that. I have 2 children, and I'm now separated from my children. I owned a house and a flat, and I think I no longer have those now. I had savings of some amount, I don't know how much, but I'm fairly certain that I don't have that anymore. So what I'm trying to communicate is that men need to protect themselves very much, and it might not be something that occurs to men generally, but basically life can change on you and things can happen, and the bottom line seems to be that if you're in a relationship with a woman and life goes wrong, and that in a way that affects you financially or whatever, then men can lose everything. Can lose their savings, their property, their children, and their happiness, I suppose. It is literally amazing just how men can be completely eviscerated, I think is the word. Just have everything taken from them and be left destitute and basically alone in the world and poor in the world. Now, I don't know the details of what's happened to me, for example, but I know it won't be pretty when I get to see the details. But the bottom line is that men can be stripped of everything that they are in the world by the legal framework that we have at the moment. Men are seen as victims, are seen as objects to be stripped of assets and handed to a woman. Men are like the source of all benefits and whatever, and all assets can be taken from the man and handed to the woman, and then the man is just left to fend for himself in the world. Now, this isn't about self-pity or whatever, but it is about remorse and regret for being a fool and not taking care of himself. I've looked into the nature of people and relationships and whatever, and I studied this in great detail under the name ManWomanMyth, and I made a video documentary project on YouTube examining many aspects of the relationships between men and women. And in particular, I looked at the consequences of relationships with women, the consequences for men, and then basically negative. It's, to put it bluntly, it's basically not sensible. It's not a good idea. It's not intelligent. It's not intelligent for a man to have a relationship with the woman, a close relationship, and it most definitely is not sensible for men to be married to a woman. Now, love obviously is a very complicated thing to describe, but the bottom line is that love is not the issue. How much a man cares for a woman is not the issue. The issue is that feelings can change and life can change. And then there are consequences. And in our current legal framework, men are simply disposable. They are not considered properly as being important and significant. They are simply an asset to be stripped and handed to a woman. It's completely awful the way men are viewed in society, the way men are treated. It's basically evil. How men can be stripped of everything that they have in the world, everything that they've built and worked for can be taken from men. And it's not even that it can happen in exceptional circumstances or something like that. It is quite common for a man to be left destitute on breaking up with a woman, particularly if married, but I imagine it's similar if a man lives with a woman. So I haven't really looked into the men going their own way movement or MGTOW, but I imagine their thoughts and their activities are along the same lines. Men need to protect themselves properly in life, and marriage in particular is simply not a good idea for men to do. Is too much of a risk and the consequences are too severe. Children, of course, is incredibly complicated. But basically, men are not treated as valid parents in the same way that mothers are treated as parents. I think I made a film as part of ManWomanMyth that men are disposable, and that is very true. Men can be removed from parenthood and his assets stripped, but his relationship with his children can be stopped. Full stop. Our legal system basically does not regard men as valuable in the child's life. So this is, I don't know what this rambling thing is, but I suppose what I'm saying is, to men out there, even if one man sees this, I don't get many views, but even if one man sees this and understands his position in society. It is not sensible for a man to be married. So if even one man sees this and doesn't get married as a result, then I would have achieved something. A man must protect himself as things stand, and a man should not get married. It is a terrible idea for a man to be married. So that's my advice, and I hope that you can consider it and understand what I'm saying. Thank you.